This video is brought to you by Movie Palette. Hello and welcome to Will Watches. This is the Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring Extended Edition. So I did see the trilogy when I was about 13, so it's been a good 11 years since then. My memory of it is pretty much non-existent. I know like the broader plot points, don't expect me to be shocked when Gandalf comes back in all the white, or like when they actually win in the end. I do know a few of the kind of bigger plot points, but a lot of the story is very hazy. I don't really remember many of the characters. I know the big ones, Gandalf, Frodo, but like a lot of the other ones, I'm not really sure. I think especially a lot of the subplots and a lot of the world building I'm excited to get into. Just learning all of these places again. I can't really remember the names of many places apart from like the Shire, And that's what I'm really excited to get into, is the world building, this world of Middle Earth. This is still my first time seeing the extended editions because I just watched the standard editions back then. Not that I'll notice what the differences are because it's been so long since I watched the originals anyway. So before we get into this, be sure to check out the Patreon page. Over there you can find 1 week early access, so you can get the Two Towers right now. You can find a full-length version of this where you can watch along with me and sync up your own footage. You might have noticed this artwork in the background, and that's because this video is sponsored by Movie Palette. So this is Movie Palette. They create artwork from all of your favorite movies, taking the prominent color from each frame of the movie and creating this sequence. This is actually Fellowship of the Ring. You can see here where they're in the Shire at the start. So you can use my code WillWatches15 for 15% off any item at checkout, and I get a little kickback of that as well. So yeah, let's jump right into Fellowship of the Ring.
The Dark Lord Sauron forged in secret a master ring to control all others.
There it is. So the ring's power is actually, you can control people with it. Obviously I know it like makes you invisible when you put it on as well, but it lets you control people. So they did say earlier that the elves were immortal, but I'm guessing they're immortal from aging and not from like physical damage in battle, because then you'd never lose a war. Then they'd never lose a war, would they? Oh wow. Sliced off the fingers, yeah. Oh, so that just killed him like that? Just losing the ring? Really? Obviously I know he's not like actually dead because he comes back, doesn't he?
But the hearts of men are easily corrupted, and the Ring of Power has a will of its own.
Yeah, it kind of influences the people that wield it, doesn't it?
And some things that should not have been forgotten were lost.
Yeah, it's like all these stories were kind of lost to time, just became myth and legend, yeah, just as she's saying.
When chance came, it ensnared a new bearer.
Andy Serkis as Gollum. I know he does such a great performance here, and the technology, the CGI, it revolutionized it. They make him so creepy there, like whiting out his eyes there.
For 500 years it poisoned his mind.
Oh, 500 years. I didn't realize he was that old.
It was picked up by the most unlikely creature imaginable.
What's this?
They kind of change that, don't they? Because in The Hobbit, Bilbo, he does this whole like mind trick on Gollum, doesn't he? Or maybe not. Maybe that's the what's in my pocket, that riddle that he does. I remember that from the Hobbit movies. I can't remember if he just picks it up like that or does he like trick Gollum into giving it to him.
The third age of this world.
I love the architecture of the Hobbit holes as well, the rounded walls and the round doors.
There and back again. A Hobbit's tale.
It's just the world building, you can display so much in just the architecture. All of this rich history.
It has been remarked by some that Hobbit's only real passion is for food.
They're just like me.
We have also developed a keen interest in the brewing of ales and the smoking of pipeweed.
They're just like me.
It is no bad thing to celebrate a simple life.
Yeah, exactly. Although Bilbo's life hasn't been that simple. It always is celebrating how simple it is now after his adventures before. Here's Frodo, Elijah Wood. Was this Elijah Wood's first big role, or did he have any others before this? I mean, it's obviously Elijah Wood's most famous role.
A wizard is never late, Frodo Baggins.
He arrives exactly when he intends.
He arrives precisely when he means to.
Oh, okay, I got the quote slightly wrong there.
You know Bilbo. He's got the whole place in an uproar.
Well, that should please him.
I mean, I know about all the forced perspective tricks, but even that shot there, I'm like, how did they even pull that off?
He spends hours and hours poring over old maps when he thinks I'm not looking.
Is he desiring for adventure again? It's weird because I feel like I kind of know The Hobbit story better than the actual Lord of the Rings at this point, because I watched those more recently. Obviously they're newer films.
If you're referring to the incident with the dragon, I was barely involved.
Been officially labelled a disturber of the peace.
Yeah, always encouraging them to go on adventures. I'm going on an adventure.
And what about very old friends?
Gandalf?
Yeah, how long has it actually been since they met?
111 years old, who would believe it? You haven't aged a day.
Because of the ring.
Tea? Or maybe something a little stronger. I've got a few bottles of the old Wynyard left.
It works so well, it's seamless, the height difference.
Oh no, we're all right.
Yeah, he's kind of yearning for his past life. He's retelling the story, writing his book probably doesn't help.
They've never forgiven me for living this long. I've got to get away from these confounded relatives hanging on the bell all day, never giving me...
They're after the inheritance.
I know I don't look it, but I'm beginning to feel it in my heart.
Yeah, he knows something's up. Oh, wow. We get it, you vape.
Go on, Sam. Ask Rosie for a dance.
Yeah, go on, Sam. Get in there. Build up the courage.
Oh, no, you don't.
I mean, another owl might help. Oh, wow. We just had Bonfire Night in the UK. Some of the fireworks now are crazy, but they're not that crazy. But you do wonder, how do they even make, heart-shaped ones and things like that?
Of all my numerous relations, you were the one Baggins that showed real spirit.
Bilbo, have you been at the Gaffer's home brew?
Yeah, he knows Frodo's pure of heart.
You'll be all right.
Yeah, he's going to tell him something more there, wasn't he?
Tears in the ground.
Outside!
That was your idea.
It looked like it was dragon shapes. Yeah, it's forming a dragon.
There's been a dragon in these parts for 1,000 years!
That's going to give him some PTSD.
I don't know half of you half as well as I should like, and I like less than half of you half as well as you deserve.
Yeah, do the maths on that.
I have things to do.
He's just constantly checking it's there, isn't he?
Bid you all a very fond farewell.
Do they all just think it's a magic trick? Gandalf is the only one here who really knows what the power is, what the ring's capable of.
Wait, it's... here in my pocket.
Yeah, he can't quite give it up, can he?
After all, why not? Why shouldn't I keep it?
You can even hear his voice changing a little bit.
My pressure.
There we go.
It's been called that before, but Not by you.
Ah, business isn't of yours.
So he does actually know what ring it is. I can't remember if at the end of The Hobbit that he knew if Bilbo had it or not.
I am not trying to rob you. I'm trying to help you.
Yeah, he knows how corrupting it can be.
Bilbo, the ring is still in your pocket.
Yeah, it's just so hard for him to give up. Hear the music building up here.
And he lived happily ever after, to the end of his days.
I mean, giving up the ring is like giving up immortality, right? Yeah, even Gandalf is influenced by it a little bit.
For I will risk no hurt to the ring.
I know they have like so many different versions of the ring, because in a human's hand it's so big like that, and then when it was in Gandalf's hand it was tiny. But it does change size to fit whoever the wearer is.
The writing, which at first was as clear as red flame, has all but disappeared.
Yeah, what does the writing actually say and mean? I know it's like in Elvish, so I obviously wouldn't understand it, but they must translate it at some point.
Good night, sweet maiden of the golden ale.
Oh, I mind who you're sweet talking. Rosie knows an idiot when she sees one. Does she?
And he's worried. Yeah, someone's watching him. Someone's already here. Already ransacked the place. I mean, hopefully the envelope is inconspicuous enough that they wouldn't search it.
Is it secret? Is it safe?
Okay, yeah, it was just Gandalf.
What are you doing?
Was there a note in there for Frodo as well, though? From Bilbo that he's just missed?
There were markings. It's some form of Elvish. I can't read it.
Look at how it's reflecting onto his face as well.
The language is that of Mordor, which I will not utter here.
Oh, it's not Elvish, it's Mordorian or whatever their language is.
The spirit of Sauron endured. His life force is bound to the ring.
Yeah, so it's destroy the ring, destroy Sauron.
We keep it hidden. We never speak of it again. No one knows it's here, do they?
Do they?
I will use this ring from a desire to do good.
But it was still corrupt.
But through me, it would wield a power too great and terrible to imagine.
Oh yeah, because he's like a more powerful being, I guess.
I must see the head of my order. He is both wise and powerful. Trust me, Frodo. You'll know what to do.
Oh, there is actually someone kind of above Gandalf, someone wiser.
You can learn all that there is to know about their ways in a month, and yet after 100 years, they can still surprise you.
He's always willing to do what's necessary. I mean, I know the other hobbits come along with him, Samwise and the others.
Samwise Gamgee, have you been eavesdropping?
I ain't been dropping no eaves, sir, honest. Nothing important. That is, I heard a good deal about a ring and a Dark Lord and something about the end of the world, but...
Yeah, not important at all.
The enemy has many spies in his service. Birds, beasts.
Yeah, you can't really trust anything. Do they do this whole thing bare feet? I know, like, hobbits, obviously, they're not humans, so maybe their feet are a bit tougher than ours.
If I take one more step, it'll be the farthest away from home I've ever been.
He's gonna go much further, though. Finally starting this journey. It's crazy, you know, they spend a lot of time at the start just setting up the world and everything before they actually go out on their adventure, start their hero's journey.
They're going to the harbour beyond the White Towers. To the Grey Havens.
And there's just so much world building.
Never to return.
Yeah, you know, I don't know what is and what isn't part of the extended editions. This feels like something that might be cut, you know?
For that is why you have come, is it not? My old friend, Saruman.
Oh, it's Saruman who's the one who's kind of above him, okay.
They are not all accounted for, the lost seeing stones. We do not know who else may be watching.
Oh, you can look through and someone can look back, perhaps? Yeah, Saruman's evil, isn't he? He's been tempted in by Sauron.
Against the power of Mordor, there can be no victory.
If you can't beat them, join them, yeah? It's funny seeing their powers, like, I don't really know the constraints of their powers, but at the moment they're just kind of throwing each other around.
We're still in the Shire. What could possibly happen?
Never say what could possibly happen, because there's something's bound to happen. Oh, is it, you know, they said to keep off the roads. Is this the main road they're on here? Yeah, look at that, the dolly zoom. Just to give that sense of dread. This is like their first brush with real danger. It's really setting the tension here. Oh! Oh, there's loads of bugs. Frodo's like getting possessed or something there. Oh, he's been tempted to put it on. He nearly put it on. But Samwise is there to hold him back. That was just like Hunt for the Wilder People. Yeah, I think when they have it kind of around as a necklace, I think that's kind of when it's safest. Because when he like fell down the hill there, I was worried like, did it just pop out his pocket, you know? And it's a bit harder to like get to if it's like under a shirt on a necklace to put your finger in. So Saruman called the Black Riders the Nine. When I thought of that, I thought of like the 9 humans, but they would all be dead at this point, wouldn't they?
Buckleberry Ferry. Follow me.
See, although they characterise the hobbits as quite timid and simple, they're kind of very willing to do what's necessary for what's right, you know? Like even Merry and Pippin, they just got roped into this and all of a sudden they're like, okay, I know what to do, let's go to this ferry. The screeches from the horse as well, they make for some great like sound design to be really eerie.
What do you want?
There's some great bit of world building.
Excuse me.
Can I have a beer, please? You got ID?
Underhill. My name's Underhill.
Yeah, they're all searching for Baggins. It's best to keep your identity hidden.
This, my friend, is a pint.
It comes in pints? Oh. I can get you one.
Oh yeah, for them a pint is huge.
That fellow's done nothing but stare at you since we arrived.
Yeah, there's people you can't trust. But people are noticing. Yeah, he needs to like constantly keep it in his pocket rather than just fiddling it with like that.
He's over there. Frodo Baggins. He's my son.
I don't know if that's Merry or Pippin, but they're giving it all away. I feel like this Strider might actually be a friend. Oh, really? And now everyone's drawn to him. He's put this whole town at risk, potentially.
I see.
The Eye of Sauron. I've heard that in the book, the eye wasn't actually a physical thing. It is like a metaphor for the people looking at him. People like Sauron being able to see through animals and things.
Who are you? Are you frightened?
Oh, this is Viggo Mortensen. Yeah. Yeah, they're almost like ghostly. They leave this fog behind them, don't they?
There were once men, great kings of men. Then Sauron the Deceiver gave to them 9 rings of power.
Oh, it is the 9 humans.
One by one, falling into darkness.
Are they like not even human anymore at this point?
Not stop till nightfall.
What about breakfast?
We've already had it.
We've had one, yes. What about second breakfast?
There we go.
Hey, Pen.
I wouldn't call an apple breakfast though. I don't know. The second breakfast, can it be smaller? Just an apple?
What orders from Mordor, my lord?
The practical effects on like the orcs are so cool. And there's like so many of them. They have to make so many unique designs.
Their roots go deep. Rip them all down.
And look at that, it's like the evil ones are the ones ripping down trees, the symbolism there for like the environment, you know. Nature is good and the evil is ripping out the nature.
Back, you devils!
Oh, look at that, Samwise is the first one to attack. Oh, he might have to use it to escape, but they're still going to be drawn to it, aren't they? It's cool, it's like, it's inverted almost, this world. They're all in white here. And you can see their like true forms, them as the kings. Does that stab affect into the real world as well? Okay, yeah, so he was actually like stabbed through the shoulder.
This is beyond my skill to heal. He needs elvish medicine.
Okay, yeah, keep going to the elves. Oh, I hate moths. This moth's obviously a good guy, but I still hate moths. There's one time I was on my phone at night, just sitting on my bed, and there's a moth in the room, so it was like this, and it was attracted to the light from my phone, and just flew into my mouth, and traumatized ever since. Oh, those are the ones that... Yeah, Bilbo's trolls. Yeah, they said elves can help, so the elves will come to them. Or an elf. I mean, they need to get him away as quick as possible. Look at him, he's like all floppy as well though. Not exactly a smooth ride. Oh, can they not cross water? Okay, that's a good thing to know. Oh, no, they are. Okay. Maybe it was just the horses reacting to the water, yeah. Oh, she's got her elvish magic. Wow. That's really powerful, actually. Just be able to summon all of that water. Oh, it's like horses. Okay. A stampede of water. You're giving them credit for the CGI for when this came out as well. This was, I know the extended edition was 2002. I don't know if they improved the CGI between the editions, you know.
There is only one Lord of the Ring. Only one who can bend it to his will.
Yeah, I mean, it's just playing safe, isn't it? If you know Sauron is gonna take over the world, you might as well team up with him. Some people find it's better to team up with them instead of fight them. They do love a good, like, gorgeous landscape shot, don't they? Again, like, the storytelling in the architecture is much more ornate, the elvish one. And Bilbo, yeah. Yeah, he said he would go to be with the elves, didn't he? And you can see how much he's aged just then. Just in that time. Is it like the age catching up with him, you know? But he having like accelerated aging now that he's away from it.
I spent all my childhood pretending I was off somewhere else. Off with you on one of your adventures.
Now he actually is out on an adventure.
I'm not like you, Bilbo.
Not built for adventure. At least he doesn't think so yet.
We got the ring this far to Rivendell, and I thought, seeing as how you're on the mend, we'd be off soon.
Yeah, he just wants to get back to peace and quiet of the Shire.
You're right, Sam. We did what we set out to do.
Elijah Wood, he's just got these big, expressive eyes, doesn't he?
Big anime eyes.
But I think it also makes him feel like another creature, you know, he's a hobbit, he's not a human. Not as an insult to Elijah himself, but it kind of helps with that.
This evil cannot be concealed by the power of the elves. We do not have the strength to fight both Mordor and Isengard.
Need to gather everyone they can, elves, humans, anyone is good.
I was there the day the strength of men failed.
Isildur, hurry! Follow me.
Yeah, they had the chance to destroy it then. Okay, yeah, so there's more to this story.
Cast it into the fire!
We didn't know he was already there, ready to destroy it.
Isildur!
Should have ended that day, but evil was allowed to endure.
Isildur isn't really the hero everyone thinks.
There is one who could unite them. One who could reclaim the throne of Gondor.
He has chosen exile.
Yeah, Strider. It's Aragorn, his actual name, isn't it? We just known him as Strider up until this point. Oh, that's the sword itself. Wow. He probably shouldn't be handling it, should he?
Still sharp.
Yeah, still sharp enough to cut them. They've kept it well preserved.
No more than a broken head.
Is he wanting to, you know, take up that role, become a hero, wield the sword again? Will it come back, this broken sword? Obviously it's sharp enough to damage Sauron, so maybe they could use it again. Is it approved, a human and an elf relationship? Will they be outcast because of it, perhaps?
You said you'd bind yourself to me, forsaking the immortal life.
Oh, really? He gives up the immortal life. I mean, that's probably better, actually. It's better to live and die with him rather than to just watch him die and have to move on after, live on without him.
Strangers from distant lands, friends of old.
All of these shots have been gorgeous as well. That one back then and this in the bathed in the sunlight. The sound effects to go along with it are great. They're kind of ringing.
It is a gift. A gift to the foes of Mordor. Why not use this ring?
Oh yeah, use its power to defeat them.
This is Isildur's heir. And heir to the throne of Gondor.
Oh, he's actually heir to the throne.
Gondor has no king.
Oh, I thought Boromir was Gondor's king here. But he's kind of the de facto leader. The Prime Minister, I guess, or the President.
What are we waiting for?
Yeah. That would never work. You can see how it's kind of connected to Frodo there.
One does not simply walk into Mordor.
And there it is. One does not simply walk into Mordor.
The ring must be destroyed.
I suppose you think you're the one to do it.
And if we fail, what then? What happens when Sauron takes back what is his?
Yeah, it's just the power, the corrupting kind of. Oh, that's great seeing the reflections in it.
I will take it.
Yeah, he's the one stepping up to the challenge.
I will help you bear this burden, Frodo Baggins.
Yeah, I need some help.
You have my sword.
And you have my bow.
And my axe.
Yeah, they're all supporting him. You can already see Gimli and Legolas's rivalry a bit here.
Frodo's not going anywhere without me.
No, indeed, it is hardly possible to separate you, even when he is summoned to a secret council.
Samwise always eavesdropping.
You need people of intelligence on this sort of mission.
Well, that rules you out, Pip.
9 companions. You shall be the Fellowship of the Ring.
Roll credits. There we go. Title drop.
The skill of the elves can reforge the Sword of Kings. But only you have the power to wield it.
Yeah, they're gonna reforge it for him. He's begrudging at the moment, but he's got to step up eventually, yeah.
Let me see you put it on. Come on.
I'm waiting for, I know there's that jump scare. Yeah, I knew it was coming, so I wasn't as surprised.
Mordor, Gandalf. Is it left or right?
Left.
I mean, when you get close enough to see it, you can see it's a big mountain in the distance, but yeah. She's got to show back up later, right? You can't waste Liv Tyler as well on a small role. She's got to be a big part in the whole trilogy. The music's so great, isn't it? You're gonna have that mini journey at the start, but this is the start of the true journey, I guess. And they're playing into the epicness of that.
We must hold this course west of the Misty Mountains for 40 days.
Yeah, like how long does it actually take to Mordor? It's like 40 days just for this mountain.
Thanks.
Faster.
Yeah, they've got no battle experience at all, do they?
I would not take the road to Moria unless I had no other choice.
Why is that? And will they have no other choice?
Sorry.
Get him!
The hobbits like to play dirty. They're right down low, easy to knock people over, I guess.
What is that?
Nothing, it's just a wisp of cloud.
It's moving fast.
Nah, that's not a good sign, like a bunch of birds flocking somewhere. You know, like a flock of birds like that is usually a sign like a natural disaster is coming or something, but this is just there hunting them or something. Don't get tempted by it. We already saw Boromir was tempted before.
I cannot.
It looks like Boromir might betray them at some point.
So, Gandalf, you tried to lead them over Garadras.
Oh, so they did actually see them.
If the mountain defeats you, will you risk a more dangerous road?
Yeah, they're kind of influencing him, forcing him into a more dangerous path. Oh yeah, Legolas can just walk across it normally because he's so light, isn't he? That's exactly what Saruman wants, though. Yeah, so Saruman's doing it all the way from over there. Does this tower, like, enhance, like, maybe enhance the range of what he does? Yeah, right on top of them. And that's the end. They all died, buried alive.
You know what they awoke in the darkness of Khazad-dûm. Shadow and flame.
I'm forgetting the name of that monster. Obviously, I know that design. But yeah, if they go through, they're going to have to deal with it.
We cannot stay here! This will be the death of the hobbits!
Frodo?
I don't know, I feel like the hobbits would be good with dealing with the cold for some reason.
You feel its power growing, don't you? I felt it too.
It's getting stronger and stronger, and the stronger it gets, the more it will attract enemies.
Who then do I trust?
You must trust.
And perhaps people on the team. I think he can trust Samwise and the other hobbits.
What do you suppose that means?
Oh, it's quite simple. If you want a friend, you speak the password and the doors will open.
Will Gimli know the password? I would have thought you'd have to speak it in Dwarvish or Dwarven. Feels like there's something in this water. These shots across the water, you know, it's one of those shots that make it look like there's something watching. Oh, they could be disturbing something in the water.
What's the Elvish word for friend?
Melon.
Melon. Yeah, that's what, I don't know. That seemed like quite a simple riddle. I was thinking that, just say whatever the word for friend was, but I thought it would be in the Dwarven language, not in Elven.
Roaring fires, malt beer, red meat off the bone.
It all seems abandoned though.
This is no mine. It's a tomb.
Yeah, all of them wiped out. Is it by the beast that they awakened or something else?
Should never have come here.
Now get out of here! Get out!
Well, actually, is it in the water? Oh, it's like, yeah, so it's like an octopus monster or something.
Get out there!
They still call him Strider, not Aragon. You can see how much they trust him though as well. They call for him for help and not Gandalf actually. Yeah, it's just like an octopus kind of design.
Into the mines!
Yeah, they've got no choice now. It's really hard to see the design of this monster. I want to see more of it. It looks like it kind of had a face. It almost kind of reminds me of a spider, the design a bit. I don't know, the way the body was, the main body.
Quietly now. It's a 4-day journey to the other side.
Yeah, 4 days in this darkness. And we know they've unleashed this beast and there's goblins about somewhere.
The wealth of Moria was not in gold or jewels, but mithril.
Oh, okay. That's what his chainmail armor was made of, isn't it? Like super light but super sturdy. I'm hoping it's not always just Merry and Pippin, their clumsiness getting them into trouble. Oh, it's Gollum. Gollum's here.
He will never be rid of his need for it.
It's a pity Bilbo didn't kill him when he had the chance.
It was pity that stayed Bilbo's hand.
Yeah, exactly. You can't be too eager. Well, I can't exactly remember the exact quote, but it's like, it's hard to kill someone, but it's even harder to let them live and forgive them, you know? It takes a bigger man not to kill.
Gollum has some part to play yet, for good or ill, before this is over.
They kept his design in mystery as well.
The great realm and dwarf city of Dwarrowdelf.
They do a great job of building up the locations and the epicness of them, like combined with the music there, just for that reveal.
Here lies Balin, son of Hundin, Lord of Moria.
If they're all wiped out, is there now a new Lord of Moria? Is it passed down to Gimli?
A shadow moves in the dark. You cannot get out.
Oh yeah, died as he was writing it. And that was where they were sitting before, so they are close.
Get back! They go to Gandalf!
They've had a bit of training now. That is like a very weak door though, doesn't it?
There is one dwarf yet in Moria who still draws breath.
Yeah, he's got a vendetta now. They're like holding off on the reveal, showing the designs. Yeah, all the hobbits as well going into battle, you know, showing their bravery. Yeah, there it is. You gotta take some strength to pull that over as well. Yeah, Aragorn saved him a little bit there. Helped him out. They had this little bit of a rivalry. Hopefully they can amend that. And that grave's openness might spur Gimli on even more than he already was. Okay, so the orc definitely has some intelligence, you know, using weapons and things. When you're that close, can you just get it in the eye? Yeah, I didn't like that, and it was gonna be right there. Oh, really? Oh, no, he's got the mithril chainmail, doesn't he? Although it probably still would cause a lot of damage.
Frodo!
What's Gimli gonna think seeing him have the mithril as well? I mean, he's still passed out there though. I guess we never technically saw him put it on. Was that right in the eye? Or like in his mouth? Kind of hard to tell. And this music, it sounds like a more somber version of that main theme. Or like some leitmotifs from that main theme maybe in there. Yeah, even if the chainmail, you know, it stops the piercing of it, there's still like the physical impact, you know, all concentrated on that one point.
Mithril. You are full of surprises, Master Baggins.
Look at that, that's just a single bit of light that was going in, illuminating the tomb. Oh yeah, it's coming out the ground there everywhere. There's some shots like that where, you know, it must be mostly or even completely CGI, but because it's so dark, it kind of blends it well, you know? The visibility is already low, you can't see any of the low-res detail, perhaps. Oh, those are cool. That's a cool design, like the eyes. The beast that was awoken.
A Balrog.
Balrog, okay. And the Balrog's design is very much like devil inspired as well.
This foe is beyond any of you. Run!
Yeah, his wording there, this foe is beyond any of you, but not beyond himself. Oh, they're being shot at as well. Just add one more thing to their mix, you know? Yeah, we've already seen how great Legolas is. It's even further to jump now. I feel like dwarves especially probably won't be good at jumping.
Nobody tosses a dwarf.
Yeah, it nearly didn't make it. They do a great job of like hyping up all of these beasts. The Balrog here and with the cave troll earlier as well. Oh, really? I hope it leans forwards the way they need to go.
Come on!
That could have like knocked over the bit they were standing on though, couldn't it? Here it is. It's such a cool design, like bathed in flame, you know?
Dark fire will not avail you! Flame of Udun!
Oh, it's got like a flame sword as well.
Go back to the shadow!
Yeah, you can just generate different weapons.
You shall not pass!
Yeah, they're gonna fake you out with it, with the whip.
Fly, you fools!
They probably could have actually got to him to help him up there as well, though. Not as dramatic, though. Fly, you fools, and it's not run, you fools, like a lot of people think. Oh god, and they're still being shot at. There's these wide shots here, which I'm assuming are CGI. I think they are CGI, you can tell, but I think they do a good job of keeping like the character movement looking good. You know, there's a good chance it could have just been really janky, but it's quite believable. And the thing is, they've all of the hobbits, they've known Gandalf since they were kids, really, haven't they?
Give them a moment, for pity's sake!
By nightfall, these hills will be swarming with orcs. We must reach the woods of Lothlorien.
Yeah, they need to keep going. It's difficult, but you need to keep moving.
They say that a great sorceress lives in these woods.
Oh, really? An elf witch? It's not going to be Arwen, is it?
Coming to us. is as the footsteps of doom. You bring great evil here.
Yeah, so they don't like that he's bringing the evil here. That might be the same in a few more locations as well. They met with hostility.
Gandalf's death was not in vain, nor would he have you give up hope. You carry a heavy burden, Frodo.
Yeah, you have to go commit to it now for his sake. Use that as encouragement to finish the journey. That is just gorgeous. You know, they said it was home to the Lady of the Light, but the lighting is amazing.
Gandalf the Grey did not pass the borders of this land. He has fallen into shadow.
Can she read minds, or is she just like reading it off his facial expression?
Let the great emptiness of Khazad-dûm fill your heart, Gimli, son of Gloin.
I thought she was going to say there were some survivors in Moria.
What now becomes of this fellowship? Without Gandalf, hope is lost.
Is it? They can still finish their mission. They still have to.
A lament for Gandalf.
Yeah, they're going to honour him in some way.
Will you look into the mirror?
What will I see?
What does it reveal? Return to the Shire, he's seeing, perhaps? Or the destruction of it. Gives him something to save, though. You know, how set in stone is this what he's seeing? Oh, it's even been drawn in. Look at that.
It is what will come to pass if you should fail.
Yeah, only if he should fail.
He will try to take the ring. You know of whom I speak.
Yeah, Boromir. Unless there's a twist and it's someone else who will try and take it. But I can't really see who else it would be.
You would have a queen, not dark but beautiful and terrible as the dawn.
Still terrible though. Yeah, you can't just go entrusting it to anyone. Even her, who is so pure, craves after it.
You are a ring bearer, Frodo. To bear a ring of power is to be alone.
He's not alone though, you know, he's got everyone helping him along the way. She's one of the keepers of the Elven ones, yeah.
One of the halflings carries something of great value. Bring them to me alive.
Okay, alive at least. But only the halflings, yeah.
One small bite is enough to fill the stomach of a grown man. How many did you eat? 4.
They're great for comic relief, these two, aren't they? You do need to have a bit of that in there.
Seldom do orcs journey in the open under the sun, yet these have done so.
Yeah, they're not nocturnal like other orcs.
My gift for you, Legolas, is a bow of the Galadrim.
Yeah, they've been collecting all of these like mystical items along the way. Frodo's got his mithril chainmail, doesn't he?
And for you, Samwise Gamgee, elven rope made of heathline.
Thank you, my lady.
Got to keep a note of everything else that they're given, because obviously it's going to come back up later, all of these items.
I give you the light of Erendir, our most beloved star.
Okay, so I'm guessing you can use that to illuminate things in a dark cave and things like that.
I asked her for one hair from her golden head. She gave me 3.
3, wow. What's he done with the hairs? Maybe braid it into his braid? I know a majority of this was filmed in New Zealand, but were like all of these shots, even these big landscapes, was this all New Zealand as well? Or did they have some pickup shots in different locations around the world? Oh, that's Gotham there, isn't it? Still following.
There is no strength in Gondor that can avail us.
You were quick enough to trust the elves. You have so little faith in your own people.
They're not really his people though. I don't know if he was exiled, but he hasn't been around Gondor, has he? He hasn't been there.
I will not lead the ring within 100 leagues of your city.
Oh, we're gonna have to go there eventually anyway. They'll find their way there somehow.
Long have I desired to look upon the kings of old. My kin.
Just the world building is so great. All of these locations and all of this history. Oh, but even those birds that should be a sign of like goodness and nature, you're just like, are they Sauron looking on? Any sense that something's wrong? Both Boromir and Frodo seemed like something was up there.
Pay no heed to that, young hobbit.
Where's Frodo?
Oh! All of that, I didn't realise Frodo wasn't there. I'm drawn up to these ruins. I just wonder, like, with this, they obviously built the giant head behind him, but do they build big trees or just film somewhere where there's like redwoods, like giant trees?
You suffer. I see it day by day. Are you sure you do not suffer needlessly?
Yeah, it's like the ring affecting him.
Other paths that we might take.
I know what you would say.
Let him take the ring.
It could have been mine! It should be mine! Give it to me! Give it to me! No! Give me the ring!
You hear his voice like warping there. Every time Frodo uses it, it makes it worse, doesn't it? He gets more addicted to it.
Frodo?
Is that him snapped out of it, or him just trying a different tactic now, playing sad? This like shadow world effect whenever he puts the ring on is really cool as well. But of course he's put it on, it's gonna be attracting more evil now as well. Sauron has sensed it. And knows exactly where he is potentially. He's seen him.
It has taken Boromir.
Where is the ring?
Stay away!
Frodo!
Yeah, he doesn't trust anyone now. Oh.
Run!
Is he going to be the white hand one now? Yeah, here he is. Uruk-hai. And this sword is just like his regular sword, right? It's not the reforged one that Isildur had. But if this one breaks, potentially, you know, gives him the opportunity to get that one. And where's Boromir as well? Will he come back to his senses and help out, or continue to betray them? See, he can use the ring to hide, but it also alerts Sauron, so he's kind of hiding from the immediate, but not from the future.
He's leaving.
He doesn't want to put them at risk as well, you know?
Run, Frodo. Go. Hey! Hey, you! Over here!
Yeah, causing the distraction. I hope Merry and Pippin get out of this okay, though. I feel like maybe they would they kill them off? Or Boromir's gonna save them? Legolas, he's just like so efficient, isn't he? He just wiped out like 6, 7 of them there. I mean, like, Merry and Pippin, they've got their training in battle now as well. They are holding their own. There's just so many of them, aren't there? I mean, you know, is the meme with Sean Bean is always the first one to die. That gives everyone a bit of a vendetta against Uruk-hai, because he was the one to do that blow. you know, he kind of, Boromir fell into darkness a little bit, had his redemption a bit there as well, saving Merry and Pippin. And he's still going. Save them as long as he can. They've got their daggers too. Oh yeah, of course, they want to take all the halflings alive. They're taking them alive, okay. Yeah, I was like, we can't lose Boromir without him having like a final word to Aragorn. It's convenient that they're shaped like that, those shields. That perfect head hole for him so it didn't decapitate him. Oh, just straight up took one of his arms. Oh, okay. So he killed him. I thought he was going to be a bit of a bigger villain, a mini boss kind of thing. I mean, he was a bit, but I thought he'd last a bit longer, actually.
The world of men will fall, and all will come to darkness, and my city to ruin.
Oh, you don't want to go out on such a pessimistic note.
I do not know what strength is in my blood, but I swear to you, I will not let the White City fall.
Yeah, give him a bit of hope.
My captain, my king.
So I guess a rescue mission for Merry and Pippin is in order? Yeah, there's no way Frodo's actually going off on his own. Samwise would never let him, would he?
All you have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to you.
Yeah, make the most of your life. That music is so great. That like violin, string work.
I'm going to Mordor alone.
Of course you are. And I'm coming with you.
You can't swim.
If you're gonna be alone, might as well do it together.
Sam!
That sounds like nearly gonna drown because of this. Just to show, you know, his resolve. Yeah, there's the friendship.
I made a promise, Mr. Frodo. A promise. Don't you leave him, Samwise Gamgee. And I don't mean to.
I love his accent.
Frodo's fate is no longer in our hands.
Okay, so they're all separated.
We will not abandon Merry and Pippin to torment and death. Not while we have strength.
Yeah. Rescue mission for Merry and Pippin, and then reunite the rest of the Fellowship.
Travel light. Let us hunt some orc.
He wants the battle. Yeah, it seems like a good kind of ending point for this first movie. The way they split up the book. Just there when the team split up as well. Okay, so that was Fellowship of the Ring Extended Edition. As I said at the start, I'd seen it when I was like 13, so I had a basic outline of the plot, but there are so many things here that I had forgotten. In my head, it just goes the Shire to the Mines of Moria to the elves when the Fellowship is formed. I couldn't really remember anything past that, like when they go to see Galadriel and all of the stuff at the end with Boromir and Boromir dying as well, and them like separating, and then like Merry and Pippin were kidnapped as well, so the teams kind of split off here, and in the next movie we got kind of a rescue mission, and then Frodo and Samwise are off on their journey separately, and then I'm assuming towards the end they'll all reunite, and there's going to be, you know, a big epic final battle, of course. First off, the music here. The music is just amazing. You know, of course, I've already heard most of the songs here. So iconic, fits the theme and fits the world so well. The world building is great. I love learning about all these new locations, seeing them firsthand as well, and just the storytelling through the locations too. You know, the architecture acts as a way to characterize some of these races, like with the elves, it's all very ornate. And then with the hobbits, it's quite down to earth. You know, it fits the personalities of those races well, doesn't it? And like all the stuff leaving the Shire, meeting Aragorn as when he was the Strider, all of that, I'd forgotten all of that. All the stuff in between the big points are completely forgotten. Then the second film, I have like no idea. I completely forgotten that Merry and Pippin got kidnapped at all, so rescue mission for them. And I know the second one is called The Two Towers, and I remember a battle at the Two Towers, but like what happens in the rest of the film. And then of course we never even got to meet Gollum in this film, so Gollum needs to show up. We gotta get our interaction between Gollum and Frodo. And then the final film, of course, I know it ends throwing the ring into the volcano and like a big battle, but there needs to be some like build up to the battle as well, a lot of things in place, setting up armies, bringing in armies, so there's a lot of things to still explore. I do have to admit, fantasy films are not like my chosen genre. They're not my favorite genre. More like, especially the more traditional fantasy where it's dealing with elves and dragons and orcs, that kind of thing. But I do really like this because this, first of all, the story is actually quite simple in its concept, right? It's not this big confusing story. It's just get from A to B, throw the ring into the volcano. But it's all of these side tangents along the way, the winding path to get there, that makes it interesting. There's still like a very clear through line of what the end goal is, you know? And like, although there's all of these made up terms and names, of course I have some recollection of the character names like Aragorn and Boromir, although I didn't know like which one was which. Like when Aragorn showed up as Stride, I was like, is this guy Aragorn? I knew Viggo Mortensen was in this, but like, did he play Aragorn, or was that Aragorn someone else? I was, you know, never quite sure. But, you know, even if you're not good with all of these made up fantasy names, I don't think that really matters too much, because the heart of the story kind of pulls you through it. Like, I already forgot the name of where Galadriel was, that like elf colony there, but that's not really like that important to remember the names of everything. And like the names you do need to remember, they're a bit easier to remember. Like Gondor is quite a simple name, because I am imagining we're going to see Gondor. I know they say Gondor, they said the White Walls of Gondor, and I know there is that city that is like the layers. I don't know if that's Gondor that they're talking about, or if that's a different city, but I feel like that might be Gondor. That's quite an iconic city in the movies. We start off kind of in the Shire with Bilbo. You actually spend quite a bit of time in the Shire before all of the action starts. As you can see, you know, there's quite a big chunk there, that's the Shire. You know, it's good to just set the tone, get used to the Shire. You're kind of seeing what Frodo and Sam are giving up to go on this journey. So it's nice to spend that extended time at the start, just kind of building up this world, you know? And then by the time they do end up embarking on their journey, it feels like a bigger deal. And you do need some time just for like the general setup, setting up the story, introducing the characters, all of that. And along the way, we're introduced to even more characters. And we already see at that start, we see how Bilbo, he's kind of yearning for his adventures, yearning for the past, seeing how he's addicted to the ring and he hasn't been aging, just as Gandalf says. He says, you haven't aged a day, which is a bit more like foreboding there rather than a compliment. But Bilbo, he's just been secretly hiding the ring. I'm still not sure if Gandalf actually knew if he had the ring or not. I did watch the Hobbit films when they came out, but I can't remember at the end if Gandalf knew that he had the ring, or if he knew that he had the ring at all during that film. And I am questioning, like, did they change some of the backstory in The Hobbit of how Bilbo found the ring? Because it was, you know, he picked it up, put it in his pocket, and then Gollum saw, but I can't remember. I remember like the game of riddles they had with Gollum. I remember like the game of riddles they had, and it was the what's in my pocket, and then Gollum couldn't answer, and he was like, no, that's no fair, it's cheating, which it kind of was, but I can't remember, you know, the exact sequence of events, if they did change that just to make it more interesting for the Hobbit book. I imagine it's a change that happened in the Hobbit book that was written after by Tolkien, not that it was a change that happened for the movies. And it is interesting to see Bilbo telling these stories, and the stories we know from the movie, and we even see like the 4 trolls or the 3 trolls that were turned to stone, like in his story. We see, I think it's in the first Hobbit film that happens. So that's a cool connection, like how Tolkien probably put those stories into the Lord of the Rings. I don't know if he had already planned to write a Hobbit book after, or like after the success he wrote the Hobbit book and then included the stories that he told in this, you know. But yeah, Bilbo's a really interesting character. It's actually kind of sad seeing kind of how corrupted and how addicted to the ring he becomes. And of course we see him, he even calls it his precious, just like Gollum did. And then of course the next time we see him is at Rivendell, and he is like aged so much. I do wonder if it's like the age catching up to him, like it's accelerated aging, or if it is just like him naturally aging from that point onwards. But yeah, it's actually kind of sad to see the state that he's in. I mean, especially because we've seen like his backstory before as well. And then Frodo, he's kind of like this literally and physically wide-eyed adventurous character, you know, quite warm-hearted. He's ready to take action and do what's right. You know, we actually see the hobbits, they are quite heroic when the time comes, when the opportunity arises. They do the right thing and are quite heroic, even though they're kind of characterized as quite timid and these kind of simple people that just live their lives as farmers, not getting up to much. When push comes to shove, they are ready to do what's right, which is really important. And Merry and Pippin, they are great for that comic relief, but as I said, I hope they're not just like constantly it's them fumbling about that causes things to happen. Like in the Mines of Moria, it was him pushing the guy down the well, accidentally of course, but it was still his clumsiness that caused that. And then obviously they came and got attacked. And there were a few other times when they'd given things away, like in the tavern when he had said, oh, this is my friend Baggins, when Frodo had given like a pseudonym to, you know, because he's on the run, he's being watched, he's being looked for. So they do give things away a few times. It's not to the point of annoyance yet, but I hope, you know, for the rest of the films, it doesn't happen too much, because sometimes it feels like, I wouldn't say lazy writing, but it's a bit of like a Deus Ex Machina. Well, I wouldn't say Deus Ex Machina, because Deus Ex Machina is kind of like an act of God saving someone, but it's just like an act of God, but the bad way instead of a good Deus Ex Machina, I guess. But it is interesting where I'm guessing the next film we're going to go and save them, or at least Aragorn, Gimli and Legolas are going to go and save them. And you know, will it be a case where they get there, they're taken to the leader, probably taken to Saruman, right? And then they're just like so annoying, they don't get anything out of them, and then they just set them free because they know they're not the right people, but also because they're very annoying. It feels like it could be one of those situations. And then with Samwise, they make Samwise quite endearing, especially from the start. You know, he's too shy to go talk to this girl who does seem like she's into him a little bit. By the time he returns, he's going to be a hero. So, you know, that should be no problem later on, right? But, you know, he had some like self-confidence issues, but he is still a really great guy. He was willing to do what's right, just like all of the hobbits were. And he's supporting Frodo like fully. He made that promise to Gandalf and he's not giving that up. He's sticking by Frodo's side for this whole journey. And then Gandalf is your kind kind of stereotypical old wise wizard. There's a few points where he is actually really intimidating when he needs to be, you know. They actually like darken the rooms around him when he's casting some of these spells, which is a really cool effect. I'm not like huge on soft magic systems. I prefer hard magic systems just because it's nice to know kind of the limitations of the powers, because sometimes some powers can feel like Deus Ex Machinas. But I'm not really sure like what the limit of Gandalf's powers are. I did of course know that he doesn't actually die here, or he did die and he's like reincarnated as Gandalf the White. I'm guessing that's kind of like the power structure within the wizards. He's Gandalf the Grey now, and Saruman is Saruman the White because he was like wearing white. So I'm guessing Gandalf like takes over from him. Maybe Saruman is defeated and then he takes over, or the color is indicative of power because they said like Saruman is the wisest and the most powerful. So maybe at that point they're on equal footing and Gandalf can go and defeat him. He seems much more like it should be Gandalf who defeats him just because they have that history together, right? But I do wish I kind of knew the extent of all the spells that he could cast. You know, in things like Harry Potter, you kind of know the names of a few spells, so you're like, oh, they could do this spell, they could do this one. But in this, all the spells are kind of nameless. So he does something and then the character goes flying. Like when Saruman and Gandalf were fighting, it was just like they were both kind of waving their staff around and each other were flying around. I just kind of wish I knew what the limits of their powers are, or if they like specialized in certain things, because you could have like a wizard that specializes in water magic, or one that specializes in animals and nature, that kind of thing. That would be interesting as well, just so the audience has a bit of like a sense of what they're capable of as wizards. And then with Aragorn, he is kind of like this exiled, forgotten king, which is a really good trope. You know, eventually he's going to have to accept that he is worthy of the throne and take up the mantle. I'm guessing he's going to get that sword as well, the sword of Isildur, who was the one who cut off the fingers of Sauron all that time ago, and who is the ancestor of Aragorn. He's got to take up that sword. Even the elves said that they could reforge it, so he's got to, you know, take that up, reclaim his throne, take his rightful place on the throne, and that's going to be an epic moment when he finally does do that. And it's just kind of this journey of, I don't know if at the moment he thinks he is worthy of the throne, and he needs to come to terms himself. He needs to realize that he is worthy, because we do see like how great of a guy he is anyway. So I do think he is worthy of being a king. He just needs to realize that himself, doesn't he? I actually feel like we don't get loads of characterization for Legolas this film. We of course see how strong he is, how powerful he is with his bow and arrow. He's just shooting them off left, right, center, one hit kills, you know. But like in terms of actual characterizations for him, we didn't get much of that yet, which is weird considering how much elves play a big part in this film. But you know, throughout the later films we'll get a bit more of that. I feel like Legolas and Gimli, they have this great dynamic, this rivalry together, don't they? So I'm excited to see a bit more of that later on in the later films. And then Gimli, he's, you know, quite boastful, he's very proud of his race, proud of the dwarves. We see that when he's kind of bragging about the mines of Moria, but of course we learn things didn't go well there. They'd been invaded by the orcs. I don't know like how long that took, like how long it had been since he had gone to visit his cousin there, because there were obviously bodies everywhere, so there could have been an event that wiped them all out. But his cousin, he had like a proper tomb as well, so it doesn't seem like it was kind of a sudden takeover, unless his cousin had already died ages ago and it was still a sudden takeover. But I don't really know like the timeline there, that in that sense. But we see he's very kind of proud of his race. He's just very prideful as a person in general, even when talking to Galadriel when they're all getting their gifts. You know, he was saying, oh, there's nothing I could ask of you, just to glance upon your beauty. And of course, who wouldn't want to glance upon Cate Blanchett? But he does end up asking for like 3 hairs, and you know, they all receive these different gifts. So I'm guessing these gifts, they're going to be important later, especially like Frodo's one where it's like light in a bottle, and then Samwise is like this rope which will probably be used to save someone. We already saw the daggers in use a bit as well. But then Gimli, he asked for 3 strands of hair, or he asked for 1 and got 3. So I'm wondering is there any use? Do they have any magical powers, these strands of hair? They seem like maybe something that could be used to heal, or like you could say like elven hair is super delicate but also like really sturdy. It's like very light but very sturdy, just like Frodo's chainmail, his mithril chainmail. It could be something like that. You could like embed the threads of hair in something to give it like a bit more power or something. Or maybe, you know, it's just that he just wanted the locks of hair and it doesn't come back up. But it feels like all of those gifts, they're kind of Chekhov guns. They're kind of things that will come back up eventually. You can't just give a character an item that has a specific use and then not use it, you know. And then Boromir will introduce him. He's a bit bashful, you know. He's very proud of Gondor. He's not exactly the king of Gondor. It's his dad, so he's like the prince. But I don't know if they necessarily have used the term king and prince and everything. He's just like next in line to be ruler there, of course. And that was until Aragorn revealed his identity. But we can see, you know, there's a few times when he's kind of corrupted by the ring and is a bit jealous a few times as well. I think, you know, he has some flaws that he has to work through, but then towards the end of the film he falls deeper down into it, trying to get the ring off of Frodo, but then by the end he protects Merry and Pippin, kind of gets a bit of a redemption there. And we see how his death affects Aragorn as well. He calls him his brother at the end there. And, you know, I was very worried that they were going to kill him without him getting like a final talk to Aragorn. It just seems like the most logical thing. They're the two characters, those two had like the most rivalry between each other. So it made sense for his last moment there to be there with Aragorn, rather than it just being this orc killing him. And I would have been surprised if that orc actually got the finishing blow. I mean, he did kill him, he got all of these arrows in him, but there was this moment where I thought, oh, he's gonna kill him, but Aragorn actually came in and saved him, because you can't have had that without that like final talk between the two, could you? Then with Saruman, I did kind of know Saruman betrayed them. I didn't expect it to be that early. Like, it was kind of the first scene we're introduced to Saruman, and then he betrays Gandalf in that same scene, basically. I wasn't expecting it to be that quick that actually happens, and it kind of makes sense what he's saying, you know. He basically thinks there's no chance of actually beating Sauron, so you might as well join him to protect yourself. It makes sense, but of course it's not the morally right thing to do, is it? And then the visuals, I thought the visuals were really great here, of course. They do loads of practical effects. All of the orcs, they all look great in their prosthetics, and it must been so much work getting each orc unique. There probably are some orcs that are reused, you know, there's a few where they have helmets on, so you could probably reuse them here and there. I wonder how many they actually did design and like build. And then I know there was CGI in here. I feel like most of it held up pretty well. You know, this is 2001, 2002, so of course not all of it is going to be great, but there's a lot of shots where it's these wide shots of the characters walking through the landscape, and I think some of them were like the actual characters, but then there were other times when they had CGI, and it actually blended in quite well. Like, I could kind of tell it was CGI models, because I think the resolution wasn't quite as high. They probably didn't plan on this being shown in such high resolution when they filmed it, but you can see that they're CGI, but the character movement, which I think is probably the most important, it still looked pretty good. Like, you have a wide shot and you see Legolas, and it actually looks like Legolas is lighter, because he is. So they made the character movement work quite well, so it did blend in really well, these wide shots with the CGI characters. You know, not all of the CGI holds up perfectly well, but like the Balrog still looked pretty good. I know Gollum still just looks amazing. He wasn't really in this that much. He was always in the shadows here, but he still looks great. I know he looks great. And like inanimate objects that are a bit easier to do, like you know, they go when they're in the river and they go past those two big statues. Those statues look great. I feel like rock and that kind of thing is quite easy. It's a bit easier to pull off well, especially in the older technology. And then on the visual department, I did have one complaint. I thought that the fight they have in the Mines of Moria, especially with the cave troll, I feel like the start of that fight was quite hard to follow, just because initially the scene is quite dark anyway, but like it was very kind of shaky cam a lot of the time. It's quite hard to tell what was actually happening. Like when they killed the troll, the cave troll, I was thinking I wasn't quite sure. I didn't quite see like how they killed it. We saw Legolas, he fired an arrow, but I couldn't tell if it went like through his like mouth, like the inside of his mouth for his brain, or if it went through his eye. I couldn't quite tell there. So there were a few things where it was a bit difficult to follow in terms of the action. But then there was other action that was good, like the action kind of at the end of the movie. That was perfectly fine. That was easy to follow. I could tell what was happening. It was mainly that scene with the cave troll, or even before the cave troll came in. I think just because of how dark it was and they had a bit of shaky cam, that was the main issue there. Okay, so I think that's everything. Next week will be the Two Towers. You can check that out on Patreon and get it right now if you're interested. I'm excited to see where they go with this. Obviously, rescue mission for Merry and Pippin, and then what is going to be happening with Frodo and Sam. What are they going to do on their half of the adventure? So I'm excited to get into that. So I think that's everything. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, consider leaving a like or a comment of your thoughts. If you really loved it, be sure to subscribe or even check out the Patreon where you can get the Two Towers right now. And be sure to check out Movie Palette where you can get 15% off on your order. So yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.